Alright. Hey y'all, my name is Nick, and welcome to my channel. I identify as transmasculine, so meaning I was born female and then decided to transition so that in society I'm perceived as like a male. I use he, him pronouns primarily, and I've been medically and socially transitioning for about 2.5 years now. And yeah, it's been a journey so far. It's been great. I'll probably make more videos on that in the future. But this one specifically is just to talk about like clues that made me realize I was trans. My partner about a year ago showed me this video from this YouTuber she used to watch called Charlie Is So Cool Like, and basically Charlie came out as trans and she made a video that was similarly titled like the clues that I was transgender. And you know, sitting down and watching with my partner, I was like, damn, like a lot of those things resonated with me, but also there was like some other ideas that like sparked in my head. And like I've been trying to honestly make this video since then, but I was just, you know, kind of nervous, a little shy, and you know, just kind of had my own things that were kind of holding me back from doing it. But with the encouragement of my partner and a lot of planning, here I am today. So that's what we're gonna go over. Before I start, I do want to shout out my partner. Thank you for your support. Without her, I wouldn't have even felt like safe or like supported or comfortable enough to even like transition and like start living my truth, let alone, you know, to be here 2.5 years later and like making a video about it. She literally showed me the video that inspired me to make this one, and then also was like supporting me and encouraging me to like, you know, put myself out there and like try to make the video. And like, you know, I would not be sitting down today to record this without her love and support. So love you, my queen. Love you, vibes. Well, all right, so all of that being said, let's get to the first clue. Okay, so the first one, I kind of grew up like, I'm a 90s baby, but like late 90s, so I grew up like with video games and stuff like that, and portable handheld ones. I was on like Game Boy, I was playing Wii, you know, a bunch of different stuff, PSP, all those things. But whenever I did like video games where you could choose your character, even like online games, like I'm talking like Millsberry, shout out to those who know. If you know Millsberry, stand up. If you know Millsberry, stand up. Club Penguin, gone but not forgotten. It's kind of back. Okay, I'm not getting down that. I'm not getting down that train. It's kind of back. Not really the same, but kind of the same. Still kind of fun. Whatever. But on any of those like platforms, I would automatically choose like a male character. And like even when there was times where like other people would like see it, like people I knew in real life, like I would be like, I would either like switch the character or be like, oh my god, how is that a boy? What the heck? Who hacked me? Guys, I got hacked. No, like I literally got hacked. Like in Club Penguin especially, because like you could just like, there weren't really genders. You could just like buy boy clothes or buy girl clothes. So I would be, if I wasn't playing online with my friends, I would have my little like swoop, you know, the little, what was it, the quiff, whatever they called it, the little like Zayn Malik hair, you know, that type of thing, like the bomber jackets, whatever. Have like online like Club Penguin girlfriends. I'm like, first of all, sorry babe that I was ever dating other people, I'm so sorry. But like, why were we dating people as Club Penguin penguins? Like, we're like, hey baby girl, you wanna come to my igloo? Yeah. Okay, anyways, getting sidetracked. And if my friends came online, I switched that shit up real quick, just put on something either gender neutral or like put on one of the like girl wigs and be like, yeah. Like, crazy work. So yeah, I never really thought about it. I was just like, oh well, I just like the boy stuff more. Or like especially if I was playing Sims, and then like when Sims 4 came out and you can like kind of customize it to be like, you know, more gender neutral in a sense of like you could be a female build but like pee standing up or get other Sims pregnant. I was running those features to the ground, making the titties as small as as small as possible, but be like, yeah, I'd be able to get other Sims pregnant, pee standing up. babes. The closet was glass in it. Following that note, the second one was that I always like envisioned myself like resonating with like the main male characters of like books or like TV shows or movies or like anything like that, like especially in music videos. So like, you know, watching stuff growing up like Johnny Tsunami or American Dragon Jake Long, I was like, yeah, I'm just like him. Or like Theo on the Cosby Show, I thought he was like cool as fuck. I was like, yeah, I'm literally like Theo. Where is this British, like, I'm sorry y'all, I do that sometimes. It just comes out, but I'm a little nervous, so I guess it's gonna come out more, whatever. My toxic trait, I guess. Corbin Blue's character in Jump In, I wanted to be that bitch so bad. Izzy, you couldn't tell me shit about Izzy, bitch. Jump In. Guys, it's not gay to double dutch. Like, hello, come on. Closet was glass, thank you. But yeah, I never really like looked at female characters and was like, oh, I see myself in her. Like it never happened in my brain. I don't know why it didn't like trigger like, oh, that seems a little suspicious any sooner, but hey, here we are. My third thing was, as soon as I found out what trans was, like, I immediately, the next thought I had was like, I wish I could do that, but I also was like 8, so I was like, realistically, my family would never let me do that, and I would probably have to like fake my own death and then like do it. Which is like really extreme for an 8-year-old, but like, I shit you not, I can remember when I like first heard about it, like clear as day. I just can't find any information on it, so if anyone like out there knows what I'm talking about, please help me find the clip or information. But there was like this like daytime television show I was watching. I was in New York at the time, so I don't know if it was like a local thing. In my head, it was always like on Ellen or like Oprah or something like that, but like, every time I search up those things, I never find the person, so I don't know. But basically, it was like this mom and her son who was like female to male transition and like was pretty young, like probably like 12 or so. And they were just talking about like, yeah, like, you know, he knew who he was from a young age, so like I supported him in his transition, and like we have family members that don't agree, yada yada, but we just say fuck y'all, you know. And it was like, as a kid, I was like, that's a thing? Like I was like, that's me. But then my next thought was like, I could never do that. Like immediately I just like shut it down, because I just like, you know, like my family's Caribbean, very religious. I just was like, it's just not gonna be me. But I wanted it to be so bad, and I just thought about that so much. Like I just fixated on it. So I feel like that was also a clue, because it's like, you know, as soon as I found out about it, I was like, no, that's me. But then the thoughts like kind of shot it down, and that's why I didn't even feel like, you know, comfortable. Plus it's like realistically in society, I was already like, you know, a black woman. I was like, I didn't think that far ahead as a kid, but when I got older, it was just like, I'm not gonna make my life harder, you know? How hard could it be to lie to myself for my entire life and pretend to be someone else that I'm not? Plot twist, it was very hard.
I don't know, I just don't think this is like great for me. I don't want to do it. I want to go home. Like, I can't take the pressure of it. But don't you think any job interview...
Another tip that kind of led me down this journey of gender discovery was that when I was in middle school, there was this book I read called Cycler, and then eventually there was like a sequel called Recycler. But basically the whole point of the story was that there was a main character who was born as a female, but when she hit puberty, instead of getting a period, she would live a week as a boy. Like she would just turn into a boy, wake up magically as a boy, and like would just stay home from school. Parents would like lock him in the room, which I'm like,
ooh, a lot of people will be scared here. A lot of people will be scared, and I'll name them.
The allegory right there is crazy, but yeah, it was very symbolic now as an adult looking at it, but back then I was just like, whoa, like this is revolutionary. Like I wished so badly that it could be me that happened to, which at the time it was also confusing, because like I did want my period to come because like everyone else was getting it, and I just honestly wanted to like fit in, you know. But it's not like I necessarily like ever cared for that. I would have much rather like, you know, like I had a lot of gender envy growing up that I kind of just like, you know, pushed away or masked, and I feel like that book just like heightened it a lot, because I was just like so jealous of this character that got to live this out almost like it was like a fantasy. But for her it was like bad. Like she hated it because she was like, oh, I'm out of school once a week, and like everyone's always like, oh, what's going on, and like her closest friends don't know. It was also crazy because there was like a point where like her best friend ends up dating her like like guy self because he had his own name. And like in the second book, they're like dating, but it's like, I only get him once a week, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, but she has access to his thoughts. So when they switch back like on and off, like they understand each other and they know each other's thoughts and they know like what the other did, but it's not like they are the other person. So I thought that was kind of interesting and like an interesting take on it. But all that to say, I was incredibly jealous and I wish that was me like so badly. And now looking back, it's like, I wonder why, you know what I'm saying? My next thing that now as an adult I can think of is like, okay, like, hello, was I used to prefer like anything that was like boy related or like boy clothes or like toys or anything like that over anything that was like associated with girls typically. Or if it was something that I liked that was like girly, it wasn't like the girliest thing. So like my first my earliest memory of like preferring like boy clothes specifically or something like that was I was probably in kindergarten or first grade, so maybe like 5 or 6, and I had an accident on the playground. Okay, judge me if you want to. I know y'all have all been there, and if you say you weren't, like, you're a liar. Let's start there. But yeah, I had an accident on the playground, and when that happens in school, you go to the nurse. I don't know why. The nurses, honestly, you're fixed all. They're like, damn, I don't know. Here's a Band-Aid. Lay down for a couple minutes. But anyway, so I went to the nurse, and she only had boy underwear. Like, she was like, oh, I'm sorry, all I have is boy underwear. And it was these pair of like Scooby-Doo, like, you know, the tighty whities, like the little briefs, but it was like Scooby-Doo printed. And I was like that was the coolest shit ever to me. And when I tell you, I wore them things like ragged. Like, I did not. She was like, okay, yeah, when you go home, you know, like, obviously you can change and then give it to your mom, she'll wash it and bring it back. Which I'm like, why were we washing? I get it. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna move past the germ part of it now for me. But we literally, when I tell you I did not want to give those up, like, I was going for weeks and I would just like slip it on sometimes and just like, you know, wear under my uniform and, you know, just pretend like I was wearing regular, you know, and I was like, it's a secret, nobody knows. But it's like, realistically, it just made me feel so good to be wearing those like fucking Scooby-Doo tighty whities over anything else. And it got to a point where my mom was like, wait, why do these keep showing up in the wash? Like, I'm like, oh, I ran out of underwear. And she's like, I literally do your wash. Like, I know you didn't run out. I was like, I ran out of underwear. I don't know. I just saw, I was rushed. Like, you know, kids, you just come up with whatever, like, excuse. But at the time, I was like, no, I'm wearing these things to the ground. I don't think you understand. I'm not giving it back. But then she put it in a plastic baggie and was like, go return it back to the nurse. And I had to give it back. Whatever. I hate her, but...
What's wrong with you, bro? What the heck? You tripping, bro. You tripping.
Other than that, though, like, you know, I also preferred wearing like tank tops and basketball shorts, or like if we were going swimming or something like that. Like, I often spent my summers in New York, and I would like purposely like forget to pack my like bathing suit from back home, which was usually like a 2-piece or like one of those tankinis, which I didn't mind the tankinis. Those kind of ate. But like the regular like 2-pieces or 1-pieces, I was like, bleh. But obviously nobody listens to kids. Y'all are gonna buy what you think is cute and then make them wear it. So I'd be like, oh no, I don't have anything to swim in. What are we gonna do? We're going to the water park. And then so I would just be like, you know, I would just put on like a pair of shorts and like a tank top or a t-shirt, and I would be like so happy that I got to swim in that, because in my head it was like that was more like masculine and it just made me feel more comfortable. And I just hated, like, you know, like I said, anything that was associated with girls, even like down to like toys. Like, I really liked playing with I had a cousin who was like my age, and I liked playing with like all of his stuff. So like we would play like cars or like action figures or like anything like that. And then as far as like things that were deemed girly, the closest I would go was like Bratz. Like, you would never catch me with a Barbie, ever.
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. Now, come on now.
I was like, boo, those suck. Or Easy Bake Oven. I'm sorry. Those didn't cook for shit, but I wanted them bad. And then I finally got it, and that shit didn't make nothing. Like, I put the mix in there, the light bulb. I don't know why they thought a light bulb was gonna cook something, but those are the only things I like. You know, was like, okay, fine, bring it to me. Other than that, I was like, keep that shit away. I did not like pink specific. Oh, my cat's calling now. Hold on. Dad life. What can I say? No, but what was I talking about? Pink. So yeah, I didn't like pink. I specifically was like, my favorite color is blue, just because I was like, which realistically, these things are not. I just want to preface, I do not believe these things are gendered now, but back as a kid in the early 2000s growing up, I feel like it, you know, society makes everything gendered, and I firmly believe that, like, by rejecting pink, I was like, yeah, I'm T-boy, guys. I'm literally a boy. So, piggybacking off of that point though, I also hated doing anything or like being perceived in a way that was like stereotypically female, or like things that like women do. So like I purposely would like not try to like do my hair every day just so it wouldn't look like, oh, you like to do your hair, you're a girl. Just bear with me, y'all. I know it's like, damn, that's raggedy.
Ah, the ghetto! The ghetto. The ghetto.
But, you know, it's just the truth of how I felt at the time. I specifically didn't want to learn how to cook. I didn't like to do, you know, anything that was like cheerleading or like, I don't know, like dancing, like dance teams. You know how like I grew up in like a predominantly white area, so I feel like every fucking girl was like, yeah, I'm in dance. Meanwhile, none of y'all could dance. Let's start there. Okay, never mind. I'm getting sidetracked. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, oh yeah, I do dance or I do cheerleading. I was like, absolutely fucking not. If anything, I would play football. If anything, I chose specifically to play basketball because I felt like that was more of like a boy thing to do. And it was literally crazy because I was on the like co-ed team as a kid, and like I was the only girl on the team. Which like, there were other girls in the league, but for some reason my coach, I feel like my coaches didn't want a girl on the team, but like by the city mandates, they had to put one. So he was like, that one, I guess, get over here. And I was like, we weren't good. But anyway, needless to say, I liked activities that were like, you know, I just was like one of the tomboys, always roughhousing with my guy cousins, you know, just doing stuff that wasn't like stereotypically like female. Another thing was that I would really like when people mistaked my gender. Like there were a couple of times where like people misgendered me as a kid, and that used to have me like, I know that's right. But then I would immediately get fear, because then I would, especially if I was like with someone that like knew I wasn't, like my parents or something, and then they would like correct that person, like the shame that I felt afterwards was like, oh my god, it almost felt palpable. Like it could just like take over the entire room and like someone could feel it, but I feel like it was just an internal thing. Like no one else ever thought anything. But even all the way up until like I started transitioning, like having those moments, I'd be like, whoa, but then immediately like have anxiety. And it was still something that I worked through in the early parts of my transitioning too, and like it still can come up to this day, you know. It's kind of cycles with that type of stuff. But I'll give one example. I was like in New York for that specific summer, and like I was with my dad, so anyone who can relate, my dad didn't know to do my hair for shit. Never thought to learn, because he's like, I'm a man, what do I gotta do hair for? It's like, this is where I get it from, y'all. Like, honestly, all these gender norms, like, what? Learn how to do your child's hair, please. Side note, any fathers out there, cis, trans, whatever, learn how to do your kid's hair, please. Please, I beg. Don't let them go around looking crazy. But he took me to someone to get my hair cornrowed. And I used to hate when they put the beads on the end, because I felt like, one, they hurt. Like, they fucking hurt when you would, they fucking hurt. Two, they just like made it so obvious that I was a girl, and that also gave me the heebie-jeebies. So like I used to beg to just get like the plain cornrows and just like last the summer with that. And there was a time that I was like out with him, and I was just wearing like a hoodie and I think some jeans and like sneakers, and I had my hair cornrowed, and we ran into someone that he knew in the street, and like from work or something, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But she was like, oh my god, your son is so cute. And I was like, and then immediately I felt fear, because after that I was like, wait, he knows I'm not a boy. And my dad was like, oh no, that's my daughter. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, well, you look so cute. And I was just like, ruined everything for me. But I was just happy, like the like euphoria I felt in the moment of her calling me a boy. I was like, yeah, hey. And then, you know, I feel like I had a lot of like experiences like that, especially as like a masculine presenting like woman later on in my life, like in college and stuff. And it's just like, it was very affirming, but then like I felt like, oh, my voice is gonna misgender me, or like, you know, things that would then make me feel like anxious about it, which then also triggered the maybe I should transition conversation in my brain. Okay, another point was there were pictures of me as like a baby and a toddler, and honestly as a kid too, that looked really gender neutral, or like even my family would joke around and be like, you look like a boy, like that literally looks like a boy, you wouldn't even be able to know that's like insert that name here. So like that used to make me feel really good, but I didn't feel like I could like verbalize that or show that, so I would just be like, haha, you know, just laughing and joking around with them. But like there's this one picture in particular where it's like me next to like one of my cousins who like was born male, identifies as male, and people would make the joke all the time of like how I look more like a boy than like he does in the photo, which like isn't like true. Like I feel like people were just trying to like rag on me, you know, when like someone's trying to like diss you. I don't think he looked like feminine in the photo, like it obviously looked like a boy baby, but I feel like me next to him also looked very like masculine. Like someone could have been like, oh, these are two boy cousins, and it'd been like, oh yeah, I could see that. Plus I feel like a lot of the stuff my mom used to dress me in when I was a baby did kind of come off gender neutral. Like it could be like bucket hats or like overalls or like, you know, little like cute fits like that. So I feel like a lot of my pictures, it's like I could post it right now and be like, yeah, no, I was a boy, guys. Like, no, like I've been a boy my whole life, guys. But like I have been, it's just like physically people didn't like see that, you know? So I feel like anytime I had like, you know, pictures and stuff like that come up and people would make those comments, or even if I just felt like, no, that looks like a boy myself, like that made me feel like really happy inside. My last point for this video, specifically, She's the Man, the movie starring Amanda Bynes and Channing Tatum, changed my life. That movie had me in a grip. That was me in that movie. It had me held onto by the neck. And I did rewatch it like within like the last year or so as like an adult and someone who's already transitioning, and I'm like, honestly, the trans allegories, crazy. I do think it was like actually based on like a story by Shakespeare, or like one of his like plays or something like that. I can't remember, maybe like The Twelfth Night or something like that. I don't know for sure. I feel like I remember hearing that. But for anyone who has not seen the movie, basically Amanda Bynes plays this character, Viola, where she has a twin, Sebastian. And in the movie, you know, she plays soccer just as good as the guys, like blah, 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 but her soccer team gets like cut at her high school that she goes to. Her brother gets in a lot of trouble and stuff like that, typically. So his parents are sending him to like this, you know, more private school or whatever, but their school still has a soccer team. And he's like in a band and going on tour in London and not telling their parents. The parents don't find out because like they're divorced, so like they just like, both of them are just like kind of lying and like miscommunicating. But she decides to like take his place at the college until he gets back so that she can get onto the soccer team and prove that she's as good of a soccer player as the boys. Basically, you know, she has this whole like transition thing where like her friends like help her act like a guy and dress like a guy. She has girls that come after her and are like, oh my god, Sebastian, blah, 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 blah. And she's just like,
just got faded. Ah ha ha.
it's like she's pretending to be a guy and having all these social interactions as a guy, and then it gets to the end of the movie and then she's like, no, I'm a girl and I'm in love with him, blah 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 blah, the main character or main like male protagonist, Channing Tatum, whatever. And then the brother is like, I'm a guy and I'm in love with her, like someone, you know, she said someone but someone else. But anyways, that stuff doesn't matter. What matters is that not only was it entertaining for me, but I also felt like, dude, maybe I could do that. Like, I don't know why. I was kind of delusional as a kid, but that's what being a kid is for. I feel like your imagination is just like not suppressed by like society yet, and you're able to really just like dream. And realistically, the dream I was dreaming of was transitioning. Like, I was just like, it's so cool that she got to live her life. And I used to like make believe and like play pretend that I was like in that situation, but it's literally just like me in my room at home, but like pretending I was like, yeah, like, you know, one of guys, blah 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 blah. And it's like, you know, realistically, it was giving like one of those things that's like a trans allegory, but I feel like they just didn't outright say it. Just because like a lot of the stuff is stuff that like trans men go through. And I feel like they're just trying to be like humorous, like, oh yeah, Viola just doesn't like girl stuff. She's just like a tomboy, but she's still a girl though. And like, that's the part that I was like, oh, well, I guess maybe that's me. Like, I still try to like force myself to be like seen by that, but really the only part that I felt seen by was the fact that she was like, you know, pretending to be a guy. I'm not saying I'm pretending, but you know, that was like the role she was playing in the movie. But yeah, if it makes sense to you, you get what I'm saying. Okay, so for the sake of keeping this video pretty short, I'm gonna end it here. But I do still have some more like tips and stuff that I do want to talk about, so I'll probably like make a drop like a part 2 at some point. But you know, thanks for watching so far. I appreciate it. If any of these things resonated with you, or if it kind of sparked some like thoughts in your head and you want to drop it in the comments below, I would love to see it. I'd love to talk about it, you know, let's get into it. I love talking about gender and like all these different things and unpacking it. The more and more I learn about it and the more like I learn about myself. So yeah, I hope that this resonated with some of you, even if it was just like cool to watch someone else's life experiences, then like great. But yeah, hope you guys have a good one. Stay true to yourselves. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. One thing about me, I'm gonna throw up a peace sign. All right, bye y'all.